Hi crafty friends, Irene here with Artemis Made, and I'm really excited to be back on the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel, sharing today a project that came together from my scrap bin. Yes, there is a face hiding in my scrap bin. The main focal points of it came from just little pieces of scraps that I had sitting around. So I'm excited to share that with you. Today we are going to be using the basic Emoji Builder die set, it's a new release, along with the circle-shaped card die set and the Catching Some Rays layered stencil. I'm also going to pull in the new Healing Wishes stamp and die set, but you'll see that a little bit later. So first I am starting here with the stencil. Now I pull in my grip mat just because I think it's easier for me to stencil with some kind of a sticky surface here, but it's very easy to stick down this stencil and it works like a dream. Here are my little blending buddies. Aren't they cute? I just love how they have little colored clips that match and everything. Now I'm going to be doing two colors of ink on each layer of the stencil. So on the first one, I'm using the Concord 9th Buttercup towards the center, but you notice I kind of went far out, and that's because my circle is going to be large. So in order for my variation in color to be visible, I had to make my inner circle a bit larger. So the outside then of my stencil I did with sunflower ink. Now I'm coming in with a little different variation of oranges. So I started with yellow and now I'm bringing in orange. So I went with clementine for the center, and on the outside I did marmalade. So I went lighter again on the inside and darker on the outside. And here's the reveal. Who doesn't love a reveal, right? It's one of my favorite parts. So this is a really cool stencil and it gives that beautiful sunshine effect. All right, so I'm pulling in the circle-shaped card die, and although this really does cut a perfectly incredible circle-shaped card, and it does it so effortlessly, but you don't have to always make that type of shaped card. You could just take the circle. So what I did here is just used my circle-shaped card die, but only cut off one circle, and then I'm just gonna kind of trim it a little bit just around the edge there to get off the excess. And here are my scraps that were just lying around. I had some pieces of nutmeg and poppy cardstock, and I wanted to put them to use. So I have to tell you, this basic emoji builder die set is absolutely fabulous for using your scraps. Look at the incredible faces you can make. That is the basic set, and then this is the sick and tired add-on. How fun, right? And look at all these pieces. It's just amazing to me. So you're not also relegated to just the faces that you see on the packaging. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. You can make whatever you want. And what I did here was actually not something that was on the packaging. It's just one of my favorite emojis. So I decided to take it and make it into a get well card. All right, so what I'm doing here is basically adding some dimension to my little emoji circle. So I went in with those yellow tones again, with the buttercup first and then with the sunflower, and I rounded out the edges of my card. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with my little hearts. It's poppy cardstock, so I'm going in with the poppy ink just to give it some depth. I started to do it with the nutmeg, but it just didn't really have as much of an impact, so I kind of stopped. So here you see I'm putting together my little face, and isn't that just so sweet? I absolutely love this. Now, one thing I was showing a moment ago was where that little cut line is, where I trimmed it down. So all I'm doing here is I just put my little heart right over my cut line. It wasn't even really necessary, to be honest with you. It's not even really visible, but between the inking and then putting the little heart over it, it's absolutely not visible. So it completely blends in. Nobody will be the wiser. I know you won't tell anyone, and I won't tell anyone, so we're good. All right, so here we are gluing down the different components of my little emoji face here, and I am now going to put it onto my background. So I made the background, that sunshine, I cut it down to be 5 inches by 5 inches, so it's perfect square, and I'm going to mat it on some marmalade cardstock, and the marmalade is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So now I'm going to take my Healing Wishes set, and I saw that there was a sentiment in there that says "Get better soon, sunshine," and that's really what inspired my emoji card to be the little sunshine love emoji, I guess. It is, like I said, it's one of my favorite emojis because it's got the little hearts, and it's so cute, and it smiles, and it's got the little squinchy eyed smile because it's so happy. And I mean, I love to smile. What is it that Elf says? I like to smile. Smiling's my favorite. That's me. That is me to a T. So because of that, this is one of my favorite emojis. Okay, so anyway, we are stamping down the Get Better Soon Sunshine in white ink after using our Rabbit Hole Designs embossing powder tool, and then I'm going to put some white embossing powder over it. That's a little trick I like to do. Rather than just using Versamark, for example, I use my white pigment ink, and then I add my white embossing powder to it to really double up and amplify the white against a darker cardstock. And I'm using that nutmeg cardstock to bring in that brown further into the card. Now, once my embossing is dry and shiny here, I take my just a regular microfiber cloth and I wipe away the excess embossing anti-stick powder, and we're good to go. Now, I'm taking a couple of extra cutouts of my sentiment here, and I'm using one of those cutouts as a template so that I know that I'm cutting this out exactly where it needs to be, and I don't want to go through all that effort of embossing something just to have it cut wonky. So I use my template there, and we have a perfect cut. So I'm just going to stack up my sentiment, give it a little bit more dimension and stability here. So I did that off screen, and then I used my Glassboard Studios magnet to hold it down and get it nice and sturdy. Now I'm bringing in my Teflon tool from Trinity. It is an ergonomic bone folder that is exceptional for people like me who have carpal tunnel and it's really hard to use different tools. It fits in your hand perfectly and just is so comfortable to use. Okay, so now I'm putting together the layout of my card, and I'm also using my pickup stick here, which I tend to use my fingernails a lot to pull off my tape, and I forgot, why am I doing that when it's so much easier and more convenient to use my pickup tool? It pulls that backer right up, and I don't even have to worry about, a manicure or anything like that. So definitely use it for that as well. Okay, so moving on, we are now going to take the marmalade layer, which is our background, and we're going to add some liquid glue here. Hi! And we are going to get it onto our card base. And the card base is 5.5 by 5.5. So I went 5 inches, 5.25, 5.5. Those are my 3 different square shapes. Now I'm using some low loft foam tape for my emoji, and that's because I wanted to give it some dimension, but I didn't want it to be too high up because I'm actually going to use a standard dimensional foam adhesive for my sentiment. So that's going to be a little higher up even than the emoji itself. And that way it gets it some dimension, but it's not too unwieldy, and you can still, put it in the mail and things like that. Although, granted, this being a larger square card, it needs a little more postage than a traditional A2 card. But still, sometimes it's just worth it, right? You just got to make it worth it. So I don't do square cards very often, but I really do enjoy them. Now, this is where, as I look at it, I think to myself, less is more, Irene, less is more. But I was considering, I'm like, I need some bling. I need some kind of sparkle or shimmer or shine, because really you can't very often go wrong with sparkle or shine. But you start to see here, my Wink of Stella sparkle came out a little strong. Just a little bit strong. So I decided I was going to try to spread it out a little bit and, kind of make it move around. And instead I ended up kind of doubling down on it and then tripling down on it. And now I just have shine for days. Really not a bad thing, but if I were to do this card again, I probably would not have added the Stella. I would have just left those red hearts with that little glow that I gave them from the extra layer of ink. But still, it's perfectly fine, and this just gives me an excuse to make more emojis. So I definitely recommend you all give it a try. It is such a fun set to work with, and it's really, it's a great time to check out the Trinity website because there is a spring cleaning sale going on, 40% off. So I am linking that below. Different products are available on sale. Grab them while you can. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. And make sure you like and subscribe and come back and see us next time. Thanks, friends. Take care. Bye.